Hi, Peg O'Sullivan from Springboard here. I'm coming on to talk to the adults today about the transfer from sixth class to first year with your 11 or 12-year-old child. I know my colleagues in the SPY project have done up a lovely transfer program and I've gone through it. And as I was going through it, I was looking at ways that you can connect with your child during this program. And there's some lovely bits in it, memories of their old school, what are their thoughts on their new school, making friendships, and keeping themselves safe, and being prepared for the longer days and new subjects and stuff like that. But I suppose what I'm coming on to talk to you about is, what do you as a parent need to emotionally support your child around for this transfer? And we have to remember this isn't a normal transfer. So on a normal transfer, the child would have anxieties around the new school. They might be excited about going into the new school. But given that your child hasn't been in school since March, they have lost massive connections with friends. In fact, there's been a lot of losses in your child's life. They've lost out on landmarks that they would usually experience, like their confirmation, graduation from school, their school tour, the goodbyes to their friends and their teachers in sixth class, even down to making plans for the summer. So they've had huge losses. And because as adults we're caught up in a pandemic of worry and stress and anxiety around this whole COVID-19, we mightn't have actually taken a step back to say, wow, I didn't notice those big losses in their lives because I'm too caught up in keeping my whole family safe. And there's a thing that we do as parents, and I know I've done this with my kids, when they come to us with a problem or and upset about something, we have a tendency to brush it off and go, sure, that's grand, don't worry about it. You'll be fine, you'll be grand, you're well able. Now, that statement doesn't offer our child any advice. It doesn't offer them any solution. And it certainly does not take away their worry. Just by telling them they're grand, we're not taking away their worry. In fact, the worry is amplified even more because now they have no idea what to do with it and they've just been brushed aside. That's not our intention as adults. We genuinely don't want them to worry. So what can we do as parents? Well, step into their shoes for a minute and imagine what it must be like to have all of the natural, normal feelings of the worry of the transfer or the excitement of the transfer on top of what's going on for us right now. So how are you feeling about this whole lockdown? How are you feeling about the whole COVID-19? Are you getting stressed? Do you have anxiety around it? Have you worries? And if you have, then you can be guaranteed your child is going through the exact same experience as you. And just because you're keeping them safe and telling them not to worry, they're feeling everything the same way that you're feeling them. And how are they expressing that? So a lot of our children don't have the emotional vocabulary to be able to say, I'm overwhelmed. So what you as a parent might be seeing now is heightened behaviours, withdrawals, more time on the PlayStation, head stuck in the phone constantly, snapping at you, biting back. So these are the behaviours we might be seeing. And these behaviours are stemmed from feelings. So the feeling is driving the behaviour. And behind the feeling then is a thought, a worry, a concern. Something is going on for your child, your behaviour, the behaviour is telling you. So I want you to step into their shoes and I want you to see it from their perspective. They're changing from being in one class with one teacher to 9 teachers in several different classes. It is going to be a massive transition. So connecting with your child and talking to them about how you imagine they must be feeling. They mightn't have the words to tell you, so you might need to name it for them. So it might be something like, you're walking around the last day and you seemed like you were really angry. I'm just wondering, are you frustrated around what's going on? How do you feel about the whole move from sixth class into first year? It must be really difficult to not be able to see your friends right now. So you are making the connection with them and you have the responsibility as their parent or caregiver to make that connection and emotionally support them. So be a role model for them. When I feel like that, when I'm frustrated around something, and I can get frustrated at times, I find this really works for me. So you might teach them a breathing technique to calm the anxiety down. Or you might teach them a grounding, very simple grounding. Look around the room, name 5 things you can see. Is there 5 things you can hear? 5 things you can smell? Just give them that little bit of grounding technique. Help them make decisions around things, like how are they going to make friends? What might they do? What did you do when you went into first year? What was the experience like for you? Now, if it was horrendous, you're going to dumb that down, okay? We don't want to be frightening them off. But talk about your experience and what worked for you, what didn't work for you. Again, giving them some autonomy and choices, letting them make their own decisions around things. And it could be as simple as, are they going to start taking a packed lunch? Or is it money? Does finances stretch to money? Maybe you could compromise around and say, okay, we'll do packed lunch 3 days a week and you can take money on 2 days a week. Then, talk to them about, well, we tie the money into some chores. Remember, a child that can't do much has a parent who does too much. So give them responsibility and set healthy boundaries, because when they step out of the home and into the school, you've given them tools. They know what a healthy boundary looks like because they've experienced it at home. They know what it's like to have choice because they've experienced it at home. So support your child on the journey. Maybe sit down and look for ways to connect during the transfer program. Connect in with their feelings, acknowledge that feeling for them, and help them work through various solutions as to how they might manage that going forward. You're going to have a lot of time with them right now, so spend the time well. And I'll leave you with a little acronym called ACT. So ACT stands for acknowledge the feeling, be curious as to what's going on, and talk to them about it. And talk through scenarios and various memories that you have. So if you can keep ACT in your head when you're approaching your child, to make a connection. Acknowledge, be curious, and talk. Thank you for listening. And I hope you find these tips helpful and useful in connecting with your child.